Am I supposed to hold it or?
No, I hold the
Last
mic.
time I held it.
I hold the talking stick. Hello and welcome to the good, the bad and the ridiculous. I'm here with Bharat Sunderesan, who is definitely one of those three things. Are you ready to go?
I'm all three of those things.
Sazid H. Khan nominates Australian batting for ridiculous. We knew Burns and Head were no good from like last summer.
Yeah, I mean, when you have your makeshift opener look better than all your other batsmen, you know you're in trouble. You know you're in deep, deep trouble. And yeah, I think it's right up there. The Australian batting is look. Imagine we might go through the first two tests of an Australian summer. 2 tests, not 2 innings, without the team reaching 200. That's how bad and ridiculous it is.
When you look at Smith and Warner and Marnus in various combinations of those three, they have papered over some very big cracks in the Australian batting lineup. And Burns, I mean, that we've said that all the way through. And Travis Head, we were making that joke at Drummoyne, back at Drummoyne, that Travis Head would make 30 or 40 and then get out to a loose shot outside off stump. Now, if schmucks like us know this, it's a professional team, so it's pretty tough. And I don't know what they do. They've got limited choices because they've got a bubble. They've got Marcus Harris, Moses and Reeks. They've got
Michael Neser.
Michael Neser is going to come in as a batting all-rounder.
He's going to bat 5, take the new ball, and then be so good at number 5 that he's going to come at 3. And then for the 4th test, he's going to open the batting and bowling. That's my prediction.
None of that is true. S. Sudarshanan nominates Steve Smith getting bowled around his legs is ridiculously normal, isn't it? No, not the Smith we know of. It's sort of the Smith we know of, and it's not the Smith we know of. Don't you think, in a weird way?
He is a weird man. He is a weird batsman. So he gets out, he scores runs in weird ways, he gets out in weird ways. That is the story of Steve Smith. It's a weird, weird story. But the thing is, I'm not surprised that he found a new way of getting out, because India have, on a serious note, have really choked him. They've choked him, they've really shut the tap on him by giving him nothing, no freebies on the leg side, taking singles, which has meant he started thinking about like where his next run's going to come from to an extent. And I pointed it out to you earlier. There was this point when Jasprit Bumrah was bowling and there was Steve Smith, and for me that was really, really ridiculous. At the non-strikers end, shadow batting and shadow practicing for Ashwin. He kept like taking 2 steps and trying to defend. And Ashwin was right there at mid-off just looking at him. It was for me just bizarre, like facing Ashwin at both ends in a way, literally.
It just shows how much I think Ashwin has got into his head in a major way, and as my hair has got into my head. And there's so much going on in Steve Smith's head at the best of times, but Ashwin must have been at that point just looking at him thinking, yep, I'm not paying any rent, and that's where I reside. Rahul Pandey suggests for ridiculously good, sort of 2 categories there, so I'm not sure. The deadly duo of pace and spin highlighted through Ashwin and Bumrah's performance, who've only played their 8th test together for India. That is a very, very good nomination, Rahul Pandey, and it was brilliant to see them together. As we were just saying with the Smith, we saw what happened with Steve Smith, and there was that pressure created between the two of them. That's not a bad combination, is it?
Firstly, thank you, Rahul Pandey. I haven't written my copy yet, but that goes into the copy. 8th time together, is it? I didn't know that. See, that's why I love Twitter and what cricket Twitter provides to you. Like, we are at the ground watching what's happening, so immersed in it. There are a lot of people out there who know a lot more about what happens behind the scenes, and there are a lot of people who know a lot about these numbers and stats. And
I knew.
Fine. Even when Siraj was bowling, you'd see Bumrah at mid-off and Ashwin at mid-on. They were constantly in the young man's ear, and they created so much pressure. And losing Umesh Yadav early meant that India were a bowler short. But of all the bowlers that they could afford to lose, and no offense to Umesh here, Umesh was the one, right, in that 5-man package. So I think, they're going to play a lot more tests together now overseas and take a lot more wickets and set up a lot more batsmen. And as you said, Ashwin got into Steve Smith's mind, but Bumrah got him out. Maybe it'll be the other way around.
Yeah, and Bumrah's got a long way to develop, and Ashwin, I think, is just reaching the peak of his powers right now. Arpan Duttaroy nominates, here's something to interest you. After Payne got out, Ashwin was heard saying, "Mera bhi hotspot Minahaaya.
Oh, not bad.
Is that good?
Yeah, very good.
Which means my dismissal also didn't show up in the hot spot. Nominating for ridiculous. First of all, do we nominate my Hindi for good?
I think very good, Mel. That was really good. Except went naha for nahi, but that's all right. That one word you can get it wrong. That's fine.
Pritam Kumar Sinha nominates DRS will have to have a relook in 2021 now. Even the great Sachin Tendulkar wants to have a relook. Sachin Tendulkar actually retweeted you today. So as a good friend of the master, your mate, do they have to look at DRS?
I think so. Someone has to look, not just the entire package of DRS, but what do you call it? The ball. Oh shit! I should know this.
Ball tracker.
Ball tracker. Sorry. That was ridiculous. Yeah, ball tracker needs to be looked at because there were some examples we've seen in this game and also in the past where, like Manas Labuschagne in the first innings, like only Manas thought he was not out. Like I told you, he let Ashwin know that after he asked for the review, and he let him know that after he somehow got a reprieve. So, yeah, I think it needs to be looked at. And even here, right, there's Hawkeye, there's Eagle Eye, there's just so much happening with that DRS. 2021 could be the year of the DRS. I'm like, and how can I disagree with my mate Sachin? So I saw Sachin's tweet. I think it also had a lot to do with umpire's call. And it's an issue that Indian captains have had. Even MS Dhoni would say, the thing shouldn't favor the umpire. And I've always believed in a DRS call. If you are reviewing it, just cancel the decision and just do what is right.
Well, so much about umpire's call is about protecting the dignity of the umpires and
Though it
stuff
should
that.
be protected, but yeah.
In the BBL, they sponsor the armpits of umpires. Like, come on, dignity. Pradeep NS nominates as bad Rahane's run out. It was probably worse in hindsight. Like at the time, it didn't seem that bad. But India did then lose all those wickets afterwards in a fairly short time with that brutal, which I found uncomfortable to watch, Mitchell Stark short bowling spell. But in the end, yeah, it probably was worse. And it's amazing that Jadeja's made such a bold play for the captaincy in the next test.
He has, hasn't he? But I'm not surprised that run out came about. If you saw that over, there were at least two other occasions where he was getting a little desperate for that 50th run. He ran and then like Rahane sent him back. In fact, there was 2 occasions in the 2 overs leading up to that as well. So it was just coming almost. But Rahane's reaction, I thought, really summed up his captaincy during the game. He just stood there, he's on 100. He looked good for a double 100. Just the way once he realized he was out, he just like kind of patted him on the stomach and said, that's all right. And he just walked off. And even though Jadeja looked disappointed, I think it may have started off as a bad or a ridiculous, but thanks to Rahane, it turned into good.
Ooh. Neil Patel nominates, and I'm not sure what the category this one is, as Pant versus Wade. It will probably be hard to find a more annoying combination, I think, than Pant and Wade. It's not going to sell out any UFC thing, is it? You're not really going to pay to watch that bout. Sort of 2 blokes yapping at each other. Pranjal Sethi nominates, despite losing so many first choice players from the 11, India playing this well is ridiculously good. When you go back and think, right, that no Kohli, no Shami, no Umesh, no Ishant, that's actually, when you go back and look at that, that is pretty impressive.
Bloody impressive because
sweary.
I've been saying shit for the last 5 minutes. This is only the second test India are playing outside the subcontinent without Ishant or Shami. They played one in Manchester in 2014 when the last time Ashwin and Jadeja played outside India and the Caribbean. So that's how important they've been to Indian test cricket in the last 14 years now. Boxing Day 2007 was the last time, or the last time Ishant and Shami didn't play except that Manchester test. You know what I mean. 36 all out, you lose your inspirational captain, you lose your wicket-taking bowler, your control bowler is not there. Siraj was maybe number 5 in the pecking order coming onto this tour. Suddenly he gets a debut. Ravindra Jadeja it is a gamble. It's a gamble I think India should take a lot more often, but playing him at 7 as a batting all-rounder and then to pull off the performance that they have, full credit to the team management and a lot of credit to Rahane.
Yeah, and let's just cast our minds back to when Steve Smith was asked about India's bowling attack before this series started and said that without Ishant, it just didn't look nearly as threatening, I think was what he said. So that sort of come back to bite him. And look, let's take the positives out of it. If Umesh can't come back, and that would be sad. Of course, they're saying, but maybe we could see the debut of Natarajan. Come on, Natarajan.
Yeah,
sorry.
much better, much
Okay, sorry.
Not, come on, not picking on you, Mel. Maybe a little bit. He's still in the reserves. They haven't announced a official replacement for Shami, but Shardul Thakur, Kartik Tyagi, T. Natarajan. I pick T. Natarajan.
Natarajan, as opposed to Natarajan. Natarajan. Janak Naik nominates for Ridiculous Siraj's Pants. I think that should be nominated as good, that a player is so committed to fielding that they can drop their DAX and, sacrifice public modesty for the sake of fielding. So I think that should come under good, don't you?
Yeah, and he was wearing blue underwear. Team blue. He was bleeding blue all over.
I closed my eyes. What wins goodest for you?
Or Bumrah, Ashwin, Rahul Pandey, you got that right. Bang on, as Ravi Shastri would say. That was, 8th time they're playing together. They're going to play a lot more together overseas and win a lot of test matches for India, I feel.
Ban, I'm going to think, is probably something to do with Australian batting.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the batting. Travis Head, I'm sorry, Trav.
And what are you going for Ridiculous?
I think the puppy fight. I think Wade and Rishab Pant, I think that for me was pretty ridiculous. They didn't get anywhere. It didn't turn into like an almighty, like the 2017 series where everybody is in each other's face. That wouldn't have happened. Maybe if this was Virat Kohli's India, I'm sure Virat would have been fired up. And Matthew Wade has a bad history with India, don't forget. He has gone, you spoke about not going after Pujara, he's gone after Pujara, he's gone after Jadeja, he's gone after everyone in the past. So he wouldn't have been, they wouldn't have just shut up and not given it back. But with Kohli not there, Rahane the captain, it just became a yapping contest which got nowhere. Ridiculous for me.
Ridiculous. That's it. They're the nominations and those are the winners. Thank you so much for sending some in. Oh, and can you ask people to subscribe to my channel, please?
What are you doing? Why wouldn't you subscribe to the great Melinda Farrell's channel? Because you're not just going to get this, I won't be on very often, but there are some very, very special guests who are going to join Mel. If she finds nobody, then unfortunately you'll have to see me and Mel together. But there's so much happening on this channel. We're just getting warmed up, or Mel is just getting warmed up.
That's enough.
Sorry.
You know how you call
just
me?
Subscribe.
You know how you call me Mel Farrell? Farrell. Say it.
Natarajan!
Natarajan! Natarajan!